It's me again. Today's date is May 14th, 2023. Happy Mother's Day to all your mothers out there. If you're a mother, happy Mother's Day. It's Mother's Day. Go call your mom. Say happy Mother's Day. Go get her flowers. Like, hey mom, thinking of you. You might notice my room's a bit different. My old fish tank moved a bit over. My fish is going to go in this fish tank soon. It's not quite done yet. It's work in progress. I have to change water a little bit, and it's going to get a new light. But this is a 29-gallon aquarium. Has a really cool filter there, but it has a refugium. This black box here is the refugium. I built for it because I don't like fish to go behind filters or heaters. I don't like that. So that one has a refugium, and I liked it, so I built a refugium for this one. The intake's over here. And then it goes through some filters, and then it goes through this guy, and then it gets dumped out. The filters in there are just sponges. And then all the plants are from Father Fish. And then the substrate in here is a Father Fish substrate, but I like black sand rather than white sand, so it's black sand. And I took away my Chinese New Year, which had been up since like 2020. My Chinese New Year regalia that had been up for a while. I might bring Chinese New Year back. I have a big lantern over there that says, Gong Xi Fa Sai and Fuza. I might put it back over here. So what's new with MMTLP? Well, not much is new in terms of me with MMTLP, but I am waiting this week for some documents to possibly get back to me. As we all know, I submitted a FOIA request back at the beginning of April, which has not been denied yet. And this coming week is coming up on the deadline for my FOIA request. I do talk about the blue sheets in the FOIA request, but I was very specific in referencing an email. And people have come to me with their FOIA requests. If you're going to do a FOIA request, I will say this, be as specific as possible. I cited a specific email, which I stated in that video, called the email, and I attached the references to this email from Howard's FOIA request. I referenced that in the emails, and I like to see this specific email that references the blue sheets. And if the blue sheets are available, I like to see them too. Please! Thank you so much for helping. Always be polite. It doesn't hurt. And be as specific as possible as you can with your FOIA. A lot of people say any and all information that might be good for you. But in my opinion, if it's like one thing can be denied, then they can deny the whole thing. So I would rather cite many FOIAs being as specific as possible than do one broad FOIA. If that makes sense. That's how I look at it. So my blue sheet FOIA is still in the works. It hasn't been denied yet. My FOIA to see the SEC comments on the S1 was denied due to it causing foreseeable harm. The exemption that they list is exemption 5. It's interesting because the S1 is a public document, right? And it was already published, first rendition of the S1. So there's no trade secrets there, but there can be comments, right? That might be a trade secret. Interestingly enough, if you benchmark, and we've done it, right? There's been countless videos of people showing the benchmarks between version 1 of S1 and version 2 of S1, right? If you benchmark those two together, you can pretty much infer through reasoning what comments the SEC said, right? Like change this, change that, change it to this, change it to that, by the changes that are made. So I don't understand why asking for that comment letter would cause foreseeable harm. Alas, they couldn't give it to me. My previous request for the specific email and the blue sheets have still not been denied, and we're coming up on that deadline, so I'm getting excited. Also, apologies, I bit my cheek earlier, that little process right here in your cheek. I bit down on that really hard earlier eating crawtators. They're potato chips flavored like crawdads. They're popular here, crawtators. So really, that's all the update I have with MMTLP, but there's other oil and gas plays coming about that people want me to look into. And there was that recent oil and gas sale a couple of months ago that was $1.6 billion. Again, that I need to go back and go through the math and benchmark that to MMTLP, to Next Bridge Hydrocarbons. I know there's a lot of FUD also in regards to a lot of people doubting the oil and gas that's there. And it's like, what kind of proof do these people want? You can show them well logs, right? And then they'll still say, well, that's not indicative of the whole area. Okay, that's fine. Like I said, this is my personal vlog. You're just following me along on my journey. This is one bird's thoughts. So if somebody is not convinced, that's fine. They don't have to be convinced. You don't have to agree with somebody 100% of the time. That's all right, right? It's okay not to agree with somebody 100% of the time. That's fine. You're going to come across many people who are going to be, your Doubting Thomas, which is a pretty good Caravaggio painting. And if you know me, I'm a very big fan of the Caravaggios. I saw Doubting Thomas in person at Sans Souci. It was fun. It was a big painting. It was like the Caravaggio and surrounded by the Rubens, and there were the liaisons there that were German, and you couldn't go too close to that Caravaggio painting. They would yell at you in German. So everybody's like oohing and eyeing about the Caravaggio. And it's almost like the Mona Lisa. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, I like Caravaggio. I think he led a pretty interesting life. I live longer now than the Caravaggio did. Caravaggio was a master, man. Like, he was younger than me, and he could just paint brilliantly like that. True talent. But Caravaggio, again, didn't have these strict office deadlines and all this other drama going about. Caravaggio didn't have to make YouTube videos. Essentially, Caravaggio got into trouble, and it was either go to jail or because he was so talented, make paintings for the church and avoid jail time. So the latter was chosen, and that's why he did so many religious-themed paintings, is to avoid jail time. Ultimately, he, made the wrong people upset with some gambling deals gone awry, and he was thus, killed in a fight. So poor Caravaggio, kind of like Mozart, partied himself to death. Caravaggio gambled away. But I love Caravaggio paintings. Him and Dwayne Breyer's, like I said before, my two favorite artists. There's a museum up in Fort Worth called the Kimbell. It's an amazing museum, the Kimbell collection. Basically, it's this rich person's art collection. But they have a Caravaggio there, in addition to Rubens. And the Caravaggio that they have there is the Card Sharps. It's my favorite museum because they also restore the paintings to how they looked the day that they were painted, essentially. Like, you have paintings there from the 1400s, and it looks like it was done 2 months ago. It's insane. And a lot of museums, like the one in Sans Souci, are like, no, the patina. It's like, look, the artist intended it to be a certain way. Without the patina, I can see, like, the weaving details that this artist made on these Baroque clothes. It's insane. Like, these clothes from, like, 1585, and they have these big Baroque embroidered patterns on them, and you can see each thread. Like, you can see that they're masters of the art. They're masters of the brush. And you can get, like, you can put your eyeball on those paintings. It's great. Like, they had the Caravaggio there, the Card Sharps in the corner, and I'm like, ooh. And the liaison, like, smiled, and I'm, like, examining it, and she's like, oh, you like Caravaggio? I'm like, yeah. And she's like, well, examine away. And I almost, like, put my eyeball on that painting in a comical fashion. I was like, trying to examine every little brush stroke. It was really cool. I like the Kimbell a lot. And that's what made it my favorite art museum. I know it's a story, right? MMTLP. And so, because we're just waiting. Me personally, I'm waiting for the blue sheets to come out. A lot of people say, Bird Lady, you're not going to get the blue sheets. I haven't been told no yet. And if I get something, I will, make a video about it immediately. If I do get the blue sheets, I will work with Tony. We're going to analyze them. At least look at the data and see what we got, right? We're going to look at the data first. That's step one. And then it could go a numerous amounts depending on what we get. So there's no set in stone other than step 1, see what we get. And then we'll go from there. We have contingencies. But it'll be really cool if I do get something. Okay, guys, that's it for today. I will see you soon. Goodbye.